Well, good morning, and I hope you can hear me okay. I think I did everything right this morning, so I'm going to go ahead with my show, assuming that you can hear me okay. Uh, anyway, today, uh, there's a national holiday, not holiday, but a national observance day for every day. There's two or three or four or five or six. Uh, we got National Hot Fudge Sundae Day and National Small Vibrating Appliance Days and today's National Heroes Day. And I've got a ton of heroes, and I could start listing the ones that are most important to me. But to tell you the truth, everybody's heroes are their own heroes, and it would just be me uh, uh, reiterating my personal prejudices and my political views and my religious views and and everything else. And a lot of you would say, "Oh, those are great heroes," and the other would say, "Oh God, he thought that person was a hero." So I'm not even going to come at it like that. Besides, there's just too many of them. Uh, but excuse me. Instead, I thought about more personal, more spiritual heroes that we have in our lives, and those usually aren't the great headline making people in politics, religion, or world events, but something more intensely personal. Uh, this morning I got an email with uh, an attachment. I got email from my publisher with the attachment of my newest book um, that contained the page review of my newest book, which will be coming out in I think spring. Uh, Things move very slowly in publishing. But anyway, there are steps. Okay, there's very many steps uh, uh, when you have a book that's published by a publisher. You can write a book and self-publish it, in just days, put it up on Amazon. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And but when dealing with the publisher and all the necessary bureaucracy of working with a publisher, there are steps. And at first, you send them a draft of your manuscript. Then and they look at it and they say, "Yeah, yeah, this looks like a book we'll publish, and then we'll send you off a contract." And the contract lays it out, and you give them an approximate page count and things like that, and how much heroics as far as graphics and things like that it's going to take them. And they send you a contract. And if you've been with the publisher like I have for 30 years or uh, uh, they more or less know what you'll put up with, with you, what you'll let them get away with, and what they'll let you get away with. And so you get a contract back, and you sign the contract, and that contract sort of locks in dates. Uh, and the next step is for you to really bust your hump and on time uh, get your full manuscript to them. Now, in the old days, this always took place by mail, and I had to send, okay, and a manuscript for a book, double spaced, okay, is about that thick and very heavy, and you got to go down the post office. And if you're wise, you also make a complete uh, uh, copy of it. You send one to the publisher, and you send another copy uh, to yourself. You mail another copy to yourself by registered mail, and you never open it. Okay, you keep it sealed up, but it's a registered thing because it puts a time stamp on it. And that means if all of a sudden there's a flood and the publisher's destroyed, or there's any sort of uh, controversy over copyrights and things like that, you have a government stamp thing that says this is yours, and you submitted it at this date. But that's pretty much unnecessary dealing with a reputable publisher. Uh, but anyway, uh, then you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. And the publisher then, at their regular meetings, uh, assign a team, a copy editor and a graphics editor, and each of them in the old days used to send me a full manuscript back with the person responsible for illustrations has their notes, and you'd have just tons of paper. Many trees are destroyed in that process. And then the copy editor sends things back. Now it's all done electronically, okay? And I'm still sort of pedestrian about it. I don't, Anyway, so in other words, that team, once it's out of my hands and into the publisher is like I'm turning it over to a spirit. And that spirit has other spirits working for them. Now, technically, they're all working for me. But I entrust it to a spirit. And then that spirit entrusts them to a team of spirits, all working for me. And I have to know when to let it go and let my spirits do their job. Okay. I'm saying all of this because this morning, it's sitting in my inbox right now. I've got the page review. In other words, now the spirits have gotten down to the spirits of the typesetter. And the typesetter has formatted the book. It's consolidated. Now, if you're looking at things Kabbalistically, the idea of the book came from immaterial ideas. And in this case, I work with Jim Brakowski because it's a book that's sort of related to film projects and stuff. But it came out of the brain onto an electronic thing, and there's how many spirits are in your computer and your typesetter or your word processor, and then manifested in tissue thin paper or files, immaterial files. And now again, it's coming back in. It's solve et coagula, okay? And now we're in a very, very, the end phases of coagula. And it's my favorite time because it's typeset. So if I find something, uh, if I can find little shit, okay, that can be changed here or there, no, I've more or less approved pretty much every step of the way up until now. And now the spirits have have manifested it uh, to the degree of if I would want to change the plot, I couldn't do it. If I wanted to change a character's name or something, might be able to do that and make it globally. But pretty much it's chiseled in stone. And I get to look at it for the first time the way the reader will see it. I love this part because, in a sense, a burden has been lifted from me by the spirits. And unless there's something glaringly wrong, I get to read the book as the reader will see it and as the reader will enjoy it. And kind of for good or ill, because I've put dutiful spirits at work to manifest my creation. So the idea of spirits as being real live people, I'm sure I would insult them. You're my spirit. Well, look, many years ago, I wrote, as a matter of fact, 27 years ago, I wrote sort of a autobiography of a young Lon. I didn't look so, yeah. That was Jody Breedlove, marvelous photographer and artist, took that picture. But anyway, in the prologue of the book, or I guess, yeah, I'm going to share the prologue and the epilogue, or parts of the prologue and the epilogue, because it sort of describes my spirit heroes. It's true, this is from the prologue. It's true that I've scorned and rejected the faith of my fathers. I invoke and worship strange and terrible gods. I summon devils and hold congress with angels, spirits and demons. But does it naturally follow that these pursuits are spiritual transgressions that bar me from the fellowship of holy ones? In this little book, I search for an answer to that question. And I hope the reader will appreciate the fact that I've departed from the textbook format of some of my earlier works on magic and have nestled a great deal of technical information within the narratives of my experiences. The first chapters are filled with much autobiographical material. Please forgive me if such memories seem at first irrelevant to the subject of magic. I assure you they are not. I firmly believe that in order for us both to understand what I do, it'll first be necessary to understand who I am and where I came from. Magic is an art, as much an art as painting or music or dance. I understand and appreciate, to understand and appreciate the artist's portfolio, it's helpful, perhaps even essential, to know something of the character and motivations that drive him or her to produce a body of work. I'm a practitioner of the black art, or so it's been called for the last 2,000 years or so. I'm a spiritual craftsman. I fashion my creations from thought and dream and will. No easel can suffer the subtle burden of such elements. They must be splashed against the canvas of my own soul. It is no more possible to gaze directly upon these objects d'art than it is to look upon the essence of my being. The most that can be done is to study the shadows they cast upon my memory. For my silhouette studio, I've been graciously allowed the tissue-thin pages of this book. The reader may wish to start at the beginning of the exhibition or leisurely wander the halls at random. I hope you enjoy your visit and will come away with a greater appreciation of your own life as a magical artist. The gallery doors are now open, and the images of light and darkness that hang from the walls are the intangible tales of my life with the spirits. And here's the epilogue. This is 27 years ago I wrote that. I turned 50 on Saturday. I spent the morning writing and in the afternoon made a half-hearted attempt to clean up my office. Constance, bless her heart, spent the whole day getting our home ready for an invasion of out-of-town guests who will be arriving in a few days to take their OTO 5th degree initiations. Last night, my Monday night magic class marked my half-century with homemade ice cream and cream puffs. There was much laughter and wonderful cards and gifts. I can't deny it. I'm a very lucky man, and I'm surrounded by good spirits. Now that I think about it, I've always been surrounded by good spirits. Spirits who execute their various charges on my behalf through the human vehicle of friends, family, business associates, and even strangers. By the same token, it's clear that I'm also surrounded by evil spirits. Spirits who tirelessly labor with diabolic tenacity to effect my ultimate undoing. Ironically, these devils also manifest through the human vehicles of friends, family members, business associates, and complete strangers. Now, please don't think that I'm so presumptuous as to actually believe that all these people are actually possessed with the objective entities that are the angels or demons of Lon Milo DuQuette. On the contrary, it is painfully obvious to me that all the spirits are my own children, creatures of my unique and personal magical universe. Everyone else on the planet has their own magical universe, and I'm sure there are a great many people for whom Lon Milo DuQuette assumes the role from time to time of good or evil spirit. I continue to do my best to identify and capture my evil spirits and redirect their destructive energy toward constructive ends. It's the magician's great work and my spiritual occupation. Sometimes I succeed, and sometimes I don't. Eliphas Levi put it perfectly in the stanza of his poem, The Magician. Their faces and their shapes are terrible and strange. These devils By my might to angels I will change. These nameless horrors I address without affright. On them will I impose my will, the law of light. At the beginning of this book, I acknowledge without apology that I have scorned and rejected the faith of my fathers, that I invoke and worship strange and terrible gods, that I summon devils and hold congress with angels, spirits, and demons. I've also asked whether or not these pursuits disqualify me for a place in the august fellowship of the holy ones. In the absence of a tantrum-throwing God of judgment, I guess the only person who can answer that question is yours truly. Do I think I'm a holy man? Sometimes. And that's my little talk about our good and evil spirits in our lives. And, oh, gee, I do have to go. I certainly hope the microphone worked today. Constance and I are going off on a shopping adventure here in a moment. That's why I'm dressed for warm weather. And I'll see you tomorrow. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. And be good to your spirits. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.